Okay, well,
Hey, Donkey Kong, we're finally back to performing for you. If you know the words, you can join in too. Put your hands together if you're gonna clap as we take you through this monkey rap. DK, Donkey Kong, he's the leader of the bunch. You know him well, he's finally back to kick some tail. His coconut gun can fire in spurts. If he shoots you, it's gonna hurt. DK. Okay.
this is
Is
that's
that-
fucking
is that
amazing.
enough?
That was incredible.
Yes.
This is why we're here.
this is why we do it, folks.
Thank
There
you
you
so
go.
much.
That
was legendary. That was legendary.
Already the
That's
highlight
an
of my
awesome-
year.
No, I think so.
That's not what you would hear on repeat all the time when you would just leave your N64 on.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. The same.
But
One
Justin
for
is
one.
back, so I will let him come back and keep the seat back over.
Discuss Matlock reruns for
Bye.
Don't these
That was
panels
amazing.
Still very Brady
Mur-
Bunch?
Wait.
Murder She Wrote.
Indeed, just Phil. Everybody else catch that? There it went.
Can't wait to discuss the last episode of MASH.
Oh no, not the
What-
gamer
what-
setup.
What the tearjerker?
Oh my
yeah.
god, not the gamer setup. That's a
Justin,
quick flip right there. That was
I was just
Fantastic.
regaling the group. I just got 333 kills because half the team dropped out. Two of us made it through the final 10 stages. I'm proud of that. You should unmute though. I'm sure what you're saying is really compelling.
It was the most important thing I've ever said and will ever say. I can't repeat it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Explicit Materia, the podcast where a drummer talks to his. Oh, I'm sorry, a nerdy drummer talks to his friends. Got to put the nerdy in there because that's very important, considering that we talk mostly about nerdy stuff. And sometimes I like to have groups of friends come in and we'll talk about video games and nerd out. And it's just been a blast every time that we all get together. And I'm happy that it's happening yet again. First of all, I actually do want to. I have a couple round of congratulations. Okay, and number one, I do want to congratulate Justin over here because on my live stream, you said that you composed music for like a video game, and I wanted to congratulate you on that because that's freaking awesome.
Thank you.
I
Fucking
always
awesome.
wanted to do that.
Leisure
Thank
Suit
you.
Larry 9. Look for it next month.
Yes. Not available for all ages. No. It's mostly just guitar with wah pedals. Like that's it. No, I mean, saying that I scored a video game is a very generous description of what actually happened. It's I got to be part of a team in a game jam.
Oh no way.
Yeah, and it was hosted by it's on itch.io, which I guess is a game dev community online that I was unaware of until this whole thing went on. But I worked with a guy. I don't even know his real name. He goes by Caravan.
Sleep easy.
Yeah, right. He goes by Caravan on a Discord, like on the Discord server where I met him and like a bunch of people, and there were 9 teams, and you get 48 hours to build a game from scratch. Like you just timer starts, they announce the theme, and then you go, and then there's the deadline, and whatever you can do in those 48 hours. Basically, most people just try to make like one level of a working game, and they'll have like a theme and stuff, like a music theme, and that's pretty much it, because it's a lot of work to just like get something up and running from nothing. So this poor guy did like all the art and animation and all the coding while I just like goofed off making music. But it turned out really cool. Like he did a whole title screen and everything. I came up with the concept of the game, and it's basically you're just trying to escape a volcano that's erupting. Like the lava floor just gets higher and higher, and it's a platformer. But there's also like enemies and obstacles like rocks and stuff. But it was really fun because not only did I get to do the music, like I did a title theme and like a level, I also got to do like a bunch of different laser sounds. I got to do like the select buttons and the pause and and like the resume
that's so
and stuff.
cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'd never really done that. And since the theme was limits, all the art was like 16-bit pixel art, and all the music was full on like 8-bit. I did the three voices plus a percussion track and just like oscillators. I actually found a plugin that's the original Game Boy chipset sounds.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I love those.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I was using those.
There's is it called Chip Sounds?
No, it's the something's magical 8-bit, and the
Yes,
Game
magical
Boy
8-bit.
thing-
I have the same one.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Game Boy
Super good.
chipset is included in that package.
That's
fucking awesome.
Awesome, dude.
It
It was super fun.
I used to use before I did like YouTube and all this other stuff, I was actually looking really into that. But if do you know anything about like video game like sound fonts? Because
No.
those like if you're into the magical 8-bit thing, it's fucking fantastic. So like there are people who like have taken the like SNES library of sounds like for their music and all that other stuff and like put it into like a library essentially that you can just use. So like if you like Mega Man X's like guitar or anything like that, you can use those stuff. But I love like making like that's a side thing that I do. So like as soon as you said that, I was like, oh man, like I gotta make sure. If you ever
And you
want
should-
some of that stuff or anything like that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, but I would just urge you to do it anyway if you have the time. Like, obviously, like I didn't get paid. It was Thanksgiving weekend, and I was like, well, I can't go home. I'm not having family in, so I might as well do a game jam.
Fucking
and
rock
kinda
out
work
with
out.
some games. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's cool.
I was
You can
gonna
find
ask
it.
where can we find it? Yes,
it's-
exactly what I
it's-
was gonna ask.
I appreciate that. It's on itch.io, and if you just go on there and search Pyro Panic is what we ended up calling it.
That's a perfect name.
Yeah, well, I came up with a list of like geologically relevant terms and then just alliterative adverbs. So there's like magma mania, pyro panic, like all this dumb stuff, and we went with pyro panic.
Schoolhouse Rock now.
Yeah, essentially.
So what
Shoot some letters.
we need like a current generation console to play this, right? Like PS5 and above.
Yes.
Maybe
Well,
the
PS,
KFC
PS6.
console.
None of us technically own this, obviously. There's no PS5 owners in the house, right?
None.
Not
None.
yet.
Mhm.
None
Not
at
one.
all.
For sure, none.
That was
Definitely
actually
not
another
David.
one. I'm literally going to congratulate each and every one of you for different things. So my next one was congratulations to Dane because he actually somehow or another got his hands on a PlayStation 5.
I've
So-
still got my one good kidney, man. It's great. Yeah, like
Stood
All
outside
works
the Walmart and beat up a
Lucky
kid.
bastard.
Walked out with a PS5.
and like a true gamer, I'm playing nothing but PS4 games on it so far.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, what else? What else are you going to play?
Yes.
Some guy just dropped a YouTube comment like right now. I can feel it.
No, exactly.
Just
I'm
I
gonna
can hear
dox
the
that
angry
guy.
And then congratulations to Q for moving into his new apartment, his new place.
Dude, nice.
He's
I thought that was a new wall.
yeah, new
Oh,
wall,
Yes.
new couch.
Just the wall is
Just installed that wall 2 days ago.
Just hung the drywall.
I actually took it from the old place. I really was attached to this one.
If you pan
fine.
left
All
or
my
right,
parents
it's
would say
just,
no,
it's
but
just
they were
studs.
surprisingly cool with it. Yeah.
This wall is definitely closer than the other wall. Just made me feel comfortable. The space was larger, but we brought that wall back in, and it's just cozy.
Got
Looks
Chip-
good.
Little
Got
security
you,
blanket,
you had Chip and Joanna Gaines over. The episode will be released later on in the year.
You know, it's crazy. There's a lot of walls in this apartment. It's kind of creepy.
Oh God.
Like,
Like
it's
4 of them
walls.
everywhere I go.
Yeah, at least 4.
At least.
And then last but not least, congratulations to Sleep Easy. He just released a new video and he actually revealed his face, which
Oh
is
my
like,
God.
hey, look at that. He was a
Never
lot more
again.
handsome.
Just the one just the one video, and now never again. That's it. Back to other style.
So the frog's not him?
The other guy's the double. Like, I pay him, and he stands in front. So that's how it is.
So yeah, congratulations all over. You guys, hey man, here we are.
Yeah.
We're
Look at us.
We're doing good considering what's been going on this last year, you know? And that's actually the biggest subject I actually wanted to talk to you guys about this podcast. I kind of wanted to talk about 2020. And like 2020 sucked. Like for a lot of reasons, but for one
All right, we're
but
back.
for one, how did you do that? That was amazing.
We got to figure that out.
Oh man. But for, obviously for one major reason, and that's because, we've all spent a lot of time inside. But because of that one major reason, which is a big pandemic, whatever, it's given us a lot more time to be inside and play video games and whatnot, and sort of ease our stress of what's going on in the outside world. And so I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about that. Like, what are the video games that you've played during this year that kind of helped you get through this year? And it doesn't have to be a game that was released this year. It could be a game that you picked up and just was like, you got into it and you're escaping the world around you. And it's really helping you get through the year. If you want me to start, I can start. So my two choices are, number one, Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I mean, I was so pleasantly surprised by that game. And like, I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't realize it was going to be so good that it will be one of my favorite games ever. And it's like in a year, especially with Cyberpunk that just came out and just like fucking blew up in a bad way. Like, you can tell when you play in Ghost of Tsushima, it's like, wow, there's so much care and effort being put into this game, like just handled with kid gloves, and that's especially relevant because, it's a Western studio making a Japanese game featuring Japanese history. And like, there's so much that could go wrong as a Westerner making something like that. And it's actually quite popular in Japan. Like, people in Japanese people actually like the game, which is like a big win for a Western studio doing something like that. So that's amazing. I know you guys.
Which is funny because most of our favorite games are made by Japanese studios.
Right.
No comment.
Not wrong. Yeah. One thing I will say about Ghost of Tsushima.
I think Justin is off right now.
Justin, are you muted? What's going on?
Oh no.
Oh no.
It is tradition.
It's-
I can only imagine. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I blame Dane. It's his fault. He told me to gain up my mic, and then I moved a slider, and now everything is ruined
It's
forever.
all out of whack.
Terrible. Now
The
I feel like
universe
there's
is now
a-
in balance.
Audio guy, come on.
I feel like there's a pretty good hum going on though.
No, that's local.
Oh, cool. That's
good.
that's internal. Great.
Definitely
well,
not a problem that I need to fix later. Man.
Just let me pause everything real quick. Let me
All
just
right,
stop
guys,
this
we'll be right
entire thing
back.
dead in its tracks and figure out my shit.
That's okay. That's why we have editing.
I'm
That's
kidding.
right.
I'm kidding.
But Q, you were saying something about Ghost of Tsushima?
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, I was just saying, one thing I've always said about the game is that Ghost of Tsushima feels like what Assassin's Creed should have been. Like, it felt like what Assassin's Creed was the beta, and then Ghost of Tsushima was like the final release.
Now, when
The
you say
benefit of- Sorry, go ahead.
when you say Assassin's Creed, do you mean like Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Assassin's
Well,
Creed?
like,
There's like a million.
The newer generation.
Okay. You mean like
I'll say
Odyssey
from-
and
Yeah, from like Origins up.
okay.
Like,
I only just learned that
or
Creed
from-
the band was not involved in those.
Really?
Everything is just Scott Stapp's face on the main character. Assassin's Creed. Terrible.
Every time you jump off a building with arms wide open.
No.
All right, Dane, you get 2 more of those dad jokes.
I'm sorry. No, I thought that's why I was here. I don't know.
About to get voted off the
That
island.
is why
buddy.
you're here.
I have
This is
no
why
purpose.
This is why I slip you the hundos under the desk. Keep those dad jokes up.
Well,
But-
to be,
Man,
to be
you
fair to
guys are
Assassin's
old.
Creed, I feel like Tsushima had the opportunity to learn from a lot of the mistakes that were made by Assassin's Creed.
Very true. I think my whole point is just it feels like a more polished version of those types of games.
And that's another good point about Ghost is that it's like I feel like someone I just had a conversation with, I think it was Evan in the last podcast. We talked about Ghost, and he talked about polish. Like it was like they made sure that the mechanics worked, and then they that they made sure that things worked before they moved on, unlike a game like Cyberpunk. Yeah, that's right, we were talking about Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And where it was just like a whole slew of everything, and then just said, all right, that's it, let's move on to the next.
Yeah.
And
always-
meanwhile devs are like, it's not gonna work, boss.
Yeah, somebody
always-
wasn't paying attention when they released Cyberpunk.
No. Well, apparently they didn't actually start development until like 2 years ago. So like even though the game was announced, forever ago, they actually had like a lot of like people from the studio drop out like while in the prepping stages of it. So they didn't actually start development of the game until way more recently than we thought, which is why the game, like, because there's no way that you can spend like 8 years on a game and be like, and there's a T-pose. It's like, yeah, this is totally play tested, which by the way is so full of shit. The guy was like, we didn't see any of these errors. Dude, you play the game like in like 5 seconds, something's going on. So, but I do like this idea, like how it's funny how like a natural evolution of a game doesn't really like, so you have like your platformers, like specifically like Mario and everything like that, where you'd think that just the next game after that is going to be like, the better Mario, like Mario 2.0, even though it's not Mario. Like a developer would like see like how to polish something. But
Mario
we literally
2.0
got just...
might possibly be the worst example of what you're talking about.
Exactly. So the point is that it's
You guys don't
garbage.
have
It's
a
not
game?
the same.
All right, just relabel that one.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, this is a next step in platforming. It's like, no, like this doesn't feel good at all. Not in that way, at least. But it's weird. So like a Ghost of Tsushima sort of situation where it's like, if you have like the time and the space, because also Assassin's Creed is like an old as fuck like IP, right?
Mhm.
Like that game has been being developed for quite a while. So to have something be like the natural step forward, I think does unfortunately take some time to like actually get there. So when people have talked about that game to me, it's like, it just feels good, even though it's not doing anything crazy new. It's just the best version of like these games. And I was like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, again, like that when someone said when I think Evan said polish, it was either Evan or Max Dude, because Max Dude did a similar like thing. He talked about like his favorite games of 2020 or whatever, and he said polish, and I was like, that is a perfect description of Ghost of Tsushima. That's perfect. I mean, is Ghost of Tsushima like is that game on the same list as you guys like for this year?
It certainly is for me. A particular unique point about this one, this is the first game I have ever played, so I opted to play it with the voice acting in Japanese with English subtitles. I've never voluntarily done that for a game otherwise, and I gotta say I love it. It's a far more immersive experience to all of a sudden not just have the visuals but the audio taking you somewhere else.
Now, because I played it with the English dubbed, but so when you played it with the English subtitles but the Japanese voice actors, did the mouths move like they were speaking Japanese, or were they speaking English?
Everything looks very natural to me.
Oh, okay.
Like there's never been any moment that it was jarring or it didn't look like it lined up.
So if that's the case, then they motion captured for both the English and the Japanese actors. That would be, if they really did that, that's like a one step. Like,
maybe I'm suspending my disbelief because I
Okay.
enjoy it so much, but that's made it a unique experience in and of itself. I think the sound design is great too. There's some really cool things where you need to follow your ears, follow the wind, those kind of mechanics. We've seen versions of that before, but never anything that was quite so natural feeling. In a lot of games, there's always some sort of glowing point or like a line on the ground that's doesn't belong there. It exists within the game only. Whereas this one, you're never really taken out of your surroundings by something that's like technology.
Yeah, the immersion is never broken.
Yeah.
Love the wind mechanic.
Yeah.
To get you to your goals instead of like, here's a big shining beacon off in the middle of
Exactly.
nowhere for no reason.
Yep.
It's like, oh, you just follow the wind. It's really cool.
Yeah, and what a simple idea too. It's a simple idea, and it's easily, but it's such a simple idea that pretty much feels new. It feels
and I
like
love that they tied it to a story device in a non-cheesy way.
Yeah, it's
I
super
love that.
thematic in the game. Like it's great.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they have the Kurosawa mode, and it looks really cool. But I can't play the game in it because I started not in it, and it's like too gorgeous to just make black and white. Like the all the colors, all the visuals are so incredible that like when you turn on like the gritty black and white filter, it's a cool feel, but I feel like I'm just missing most of the game.
Yeah, I'll be able to turn that mode on whenever I'm doing duels, just to make it look.
That's a good idea.
Because like whenever you put it on for duels, it makes it look like 10 times more dramatic.
Have y'all noticed that also the audio goes mono when you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, they put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, attention to detail, man. Hey, Justin, is it possible you could turn your mic up a little bit? You're a little quiet. I was a
look. That's what I was.
The man has two settings. Shane, we've been through this.
Yeah, on and off. All right, I'm gonna try it.
Okay. Right, give me a second. Give me a second, because I'm gonna turn the fan on. It's getting hot.
Okay,
Justin,
did that make a difference at all?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds great.
What interface are you going into?
I'm going into my Apogee 1, and instead of
it doesn't have physical knobs, right? Yeah.
It has one physical knob, and it adjusts the output.
It's your output.
Oh,
monitor.
There you go. You're much louder now.
Yeah. He
so
figured
if I
it out in
adjust
the
it
flash.
on the software, the Apogee software on my laptop, instead of through the input on Zoom like I did before, when all of a sudden I was gone, apparently that works. So
do that. That's great.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like literally when I was figuring this out today to like make this work, I did the same thing 4 times. And on the 4th time, it just suddenly started working. So I'm not a sound person. It's I don't know what I'm doing.
It's whatever you did, it's fixed now.
Great.
So yeah, that was my first game, is Ghost of Tsushima. And I think we're all in agreement that it's one of the best games, especially in 2020, but just one of the best games, period. And I knew we're gonna probably talk about this topic. We've already talked about this topic very much, but I gotta be honest. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake, like
worst game of all time. I agree.
That one. Yeah.
No. Is that I think I've played. What is it called again? Can you just? Ironically, I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima, so like this is the only thing.
It's an obscure game about Norse mythology. You wouldn't get it.
You wouldn't understand.
Well, not just
it's an
Norse
Atari game,
mythology,
right?
But Norse, Greek, and everything.
Is there like
Justin
a video I can
developed
watch
it
on this?
over
Just because this
Thanksgiving.
sounds like super complicated.
Several.
So,
I mean, but those are my games, man. Those 2 games like more got me out of what was going on in the world than any other game that I played during the year, and I played a lot. I played a lot.
it's a weird thing that game. I think it's like, you know how like Animal Crossing like became like the biggest thing this year for like Nintendo, where it's just like the timing of it.
The year.
Yeah, it's
Honestly,
the
that's mine.
time and place. Yeah, there you go. So like the idea here is that like at this particular time, just the way something hits, it's like the time and place, like an escape, sort of like that game hit that way. And I think Remake was that for me, like by far. Because I was just starting to get into like this whole thing was just starting to like kind of take in its final form as it is now. And when I was experiencing it for myself, I really like had that feeling where it's like this game is really like sucking me in. Obviously not, right? Obviously that's not my entire shtick. That's not the only reason I'm here. But it just was so like absorbing. And I was actually going to say this is not a 2020 game release, but I recently started playing Final Fantasy, the original, and just like feeling that game after like experiencing this much, the thing that was sucking up most of my time, which was Remake. It's just like the quality of just immersion and the story and everything like that just again and again always fucking surprises me how effective the storytelling is in that game. And just like the perfect thing for me at the time. Like I definitely needed something like that, like going into this. So
I
as long as that's what the game is.
Did you go all the way through the original Final Fantasy?
I just I was playing it on stream and I stopped after getting Aerith's Limit Break. So I'm not even like, and I'm doing it like a lore dump at the same time with people. So I'm like, this is what this is, and this is what this is.
I made some assumptions there that I didn't need to make.
I'm with you.
Talking about the original Final Fantasy VII.
Oh yeah. No, that's my fault.
I thought you meant you were going back through the original Final Fantasy on Nintendo. I was like,
I am
yes,
playing.
That's awesome.
I was under that same
Every
impression.
single one.
Dude, you should,
see,
man. And then let me know which you think is more difficult: Final Fantasy, the original, or any other Final Fantasy.
Oh, no.
I can only imagine that Final Fantasy is probably like walking through like a bed of nails compared to like in terms of like difficulty. Yeah,
it's
not
so hard.
But very pixelated nails.
Yeah. It's just one pixel like gray lines.
Just
my only experience through Final Fantasy 1 was when I got it for iPhone, when it came out for the iPhone with updated graphics. But apparently nothing else was really updated. I mean, like the amount of grinding you had to do, like even for an updated game for when it came out for iPhone, it's like you can just like, oh my god, I'm in the 50th battle, like, and it's just like I just like I'm not even in the second village yet, and I'm still getting my ass kicked.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. But
Final Fantasy 1, which was of course Final Fantasy 1/4 in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Hey,
that's two.
Four
that's
behind
two. I was thinking the same thing.
I didn't mean to derail your spiel about the original Final Fantasy VII because I'm actually really interested to hear more of your thoughts on that, because that's a perspective I've literally never come across. Someone that played the remake before the original.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had my interaction with 7 before remake. It had just been a really long time for me. So like I have experienced 7 before. But it was just, you know what it is, like, and I hate to say it because maybe this is just my perspective on it, but it feels like a Star Wars thing where it's like there's like enough here to like with the Force and all this other stuff, this blanket spirituality that I'm super, I don't know why, and maybe this is about to be a tangent. I can feel it already.
Do it. Do it.
So before I did
it to Tsushima, you wait.
It will. Well, we're gonna get there. It's all gonna come back. Wait for part 7 of my new video series. And that's why Kurosawa mode exists. Thank you, Nojima. Jesus.
Amazing.
God. The idea. Before I was making like Final Fantasy VII content, I was a writer. So the thing that fascinated me about Star Wars was that the Force was a very loose inclusion of all spirituality and all of these ideas sort of, but very simply put, right? So you can kind of like, whoever is like looking at this can kind of interpret it or fall in love with it in a very like general way. And it can do like so many different things, right? So the same I feel the same way about like the live stream in 7, where there's like this very like loose spiritual connection in it. And I've been thinking about this a lot like recently. Maybe this is why like it's on my mind as I'm speaking about it now. But I think in general 7, I get that like Star Wars feel. Like I'm going through a journey and like there's all of these like very delicate like little moves here that just make these, it's like lightning in a bottle, like completely timeless like elements that all come together to make this like perfect game, so to speak. I wouldn't say that the combat is 100% perfect, but I'm also not like a general fan of like turn-based combat, which I know it's not necessarily that, but I already have a hard time with RPGs. So I like, as an example, like my favorite one is like Super Mario RPG, and that's like not even it press in time with like the hits and stuff like that, and super easy. So
dude, I
Don't you
freaking
shake your
love
head,
it.
Shane.
No, I'm shaking in a good way. Like, dude, that
Okay,
game
yeah,
is
I was gonna
that
say,
that
we're nodding
game
in agreement here.
Mario RPG, man. What a talk about a game that needs a remake.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. Yeah,
Yes.
it definitely needs something. It needs something.
I never played the Paper Mario, but like when they said like this is the new RPG for, and I'm like,
They were wrong.
Yeah, they didn't do it right.
They're a bunch of fucking liars, is what they are.
Well, that intrigues me because I've never played Super Mario RPG.
oh
Dude, man, you'd love it.
Fantastic music too.
Amazing music.
Great items, great humor, and all this other stuff.
Characters, everything, yeah.
Square Enix has never lied. Like, remake is like a 1-for-1, right? So it's just the same game. It's literally the same. I don't know why people are mad about it. It's just like the original.
Yeah, exactly
No
like the
reason.
original.
But yeah, dude,
Exactly.
Q, that should be definitely on your list of I have it. I can let you borrow it if you want. But do you have a Super Nintendo?
Use Q?
Whew,
Who
somewhere.
cares about that?
Somewhere.
I've got a Super Nintendo you could borrow if you want to borrow my Super Nintendo and his game. We can come together as a community to let you play.
I've
Super
probably
Mario
got the
RPG.
AV cable that you're missing, so yeah.
Wow, mister's no fooling.
I'm really good at blowing on
Gee
cartridges.
willikers.
So I'll pitch in. I'll send the cartridge to me. I'll blow on it, and we'll send it to you, and you'll be fucking ready to go.
Look,
Spittle
we can
and
make
everything.
this happen. That's what this is all about. Coming together to make things happen.
Yeah.
Don't they say it takes a village?
It takes a village.
That's
Play
right.
Mario RPG.
All it takes is Kurosawa mode. That's all it takes to bring people together.
Oh, Kurosawa in a mode in a Mario game would be really
Yeah.
weird.
Where
Dude,
you
that would be fucking
assassinate
sick.
where you assassinate Mac the Knife or whatever his name is.
Sneak up on Koopa
I want a
Troopas.
mode
and-
where Mario can enter ghost mode and just slaughter
Wreck.
3 Goombas at will. And then everything just goes back to normal, just happy music.
No one talks
Slow-mo
about it.
just Stepping on
Ghost
just
of Mustard
cowering in a
Kingdom
corner.
is going to be the best game ever.
their eyeballs popping out, just like with the foot pressing.
Yeah.
It. Dude.
Ghost
Yeah.
of Mushroom Kingdom.
It's so unnecessarily violent.
Toad plays Kenji.
Oh god, poor kid.
Hit my barrel, Mario!
Oh
Luigi
man.
can be Ryuzo.
Oh
Glory,
wow.
Oh, the implications.
Yeah, big time. I'm
So
gonna
sorry
play
to
more.
go off on the Final Fantasy VII train on that one. Do
Oh
you,
no.
No, don't.
Please,
We're all here
don't
for
be
it.
sorry.
We are all here.
Yeah. Q, what do you what were your two games? Was it
2 games?
yeah, for this year that got you through it?
My number one, I'll have to say, was Animal Crossing.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it was like that game. It just, I've like this 2020 and like 2019, I met a bunch of like people doing like arts and like music and things like that. And I've been getting really into writing. And like a game like that inspires so much like creativity. And it's like when I'm trapped at home, don't have access to like the outside world, just a game about like building shit in nature. Like it was like perfect.
Yeah.
You're
I've
making
heard-
this sound like the Zen garden of video games, and I'm like totally,
It-
I'm
like,
totally
that's
subscribed
really-
to it.
Really,
really what it
apt
felt like.
description.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's really like
really dead on.
I've literally spent like hours just like searching online just to be inspired by something to like recreate in the game.
Dude, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking awesome. I'm jealous.
I do have my reservations about the Tom Nook character.
Oh yeah, that's definitely taxation without representation right there.
Man, capitalist pig, eat the rich. Like,
Yeah.
I got feelings, man.
My boy Benny Franks would not be proud.
Do you think he was involved in the GameStop subreddit?
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%.
he runs the Robinhood app.
His
He runs the
idea.
Robinhood app, so it's this
Mr.
whole
Nook is
thing.
daddy capitalism.
Is this dating this episode? Is this dating? Okay.
No,
Never mind.
no, we're good.
Q, did you
Look it up,
did you
kids.
say Daddy Capitalism?
Daddy capitalism.
Because I want that to be my stage name.
Daddy
Now.
capitalism.
Go for it. I love it.
Just come off on
I have
in a
no
suit.
retort. That's too good. That's too good.
Daddy
Daddy
capitalism.
You got to be wearing
First
sunglasses
chance
inside.
I get on stage with you, I'm introducing you as that.
Oh, for sure.
Even if I lose the gig, it'll be
Doesn't
worth
matter.
it.
All
First
you
gig back
with,
after
by
a
the
year
way,
of
is
not playing Daddy Capitalism. Everybody,
I feel like that's like the wrestler that is like immediately hated.
Yeah.
It's like you walk out on stage, you're just gonna be met with like a run of boos, like fucking bring this guy down.
Why does that sound like JBL's manager?
Fucking daddy capitalism. Get the
Definitely
check.
would play the heel for sure. Daddy Capitalism. No one likes him. No. Very popular in like the boomer age group, but 18.
Not
to,
a
like,
huge
40,
fan of it.
No
in the
one.
lower- yeah.
No, everyone hates.
This age and under, not a fan. Not buying those T-shirts.
Anybody who fought in World War II loves daddy capitalism.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You got to work hard for your money.
bootstrap. Something bootstraps.
Look, if you exploit enough of other people's labor, you will do very well for yourself. Remember that.
Dustin, I completely subscribe to this mentality.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just ask
Daddy
JB
capitalism, you're right.
Daddy capitalism.
Daddy capitalism knows.
I'd like to
best.
point out that Shane makes revenue off these, and none of us do.
That is untrue.
Oh, look at the time. I gotta go. This is so
I
weird.
want-
Where's the leave button? Okay, gotcha.
Listen, you won't get
Lose
another
money on
word
the
out of me
postage,
until I
sending
get
us the
royalty
checks from
payments.
I was like, Your Honor, I'd like to defend myself.
I would like to countersue for the use of my likeness.
Shortest podcast ever.
Hi, fellas. Well, it's been great. See you.
So glad to talk to you guys about your top 5 video games of all time of 2020. What did you think? Leave us a comment in the description down below, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you to all of the guests involved, and
Ladies and gentlemen,
yes,
Don't forget to like,
Shane
comment, and subscribe.
make sure to give your bells to your Tom Nooks and say hi to Daddy Capitalism.
Hey, I gotta make 2 cents somewhere, I'm not playing anymore.
Nope. I get it.
Add me on PSN XX Daddy _ capitalism 420XX.
For some reason, I just picture like one of those old cartoons. Daddy Capitalism shows up. Oh
It
God,
was like made by
Oh,
Genny
gosh.
Tartakovsky.
Man.
this would be a great Soul Calibur customized character if anybody wants to get on that. Daddy Capitalism.
Daddy
For some
capitalism.
reason, I keep imagining Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
That's
I agree.
granddaddy. That's yeah.
That's Granddaddy Capitalism.
I'm
He's like the
Granddaddy
guy who fucking like humps after like you lose a stock in Smash Brothers. He like air humps. What do you call it? Teabagging. Jesus Christ.
Yes, that's what.
Yeah, you teabag.
Now you're dating
Teabagging.
yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Hey guys,
So you're air humping. What is all that about?
granddaddy capitalism over here. Yeah.
Oh, God.
But see, the
Gee,
funny thing, like,
mister.
that's, when we're that age, when we're like in our 70s and stuff, and at that age where people look at us as like doddering kind of, how society views old people generally speaking. Hopefully it changes, but whatever.
Oh yeah, I do it all
When
the time.
we get to that age, that like the nostalgia factor is going to be the weirdest stuff. Like, do you remember that time we made fake AOL accounts and tricked some youngster into looking at a picture of a man's distended anus? It's never, there's no stories of like, I remember walking your grandmother to the old oak tree, and that's when we had our first kiss. There will be nothing wholesome about it.
Does anybody here remember Dead Mouse?
Yeah.
I love dubstep.
Oh, Bradley was a heckin' good pupper.
This isn't my kind of drop.
Yeah, I think a lot of those stories are going to be kept away from the children because when you're living in a house with 5 dudes in your 20s.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it's going to be. Well, it's going to be like, man, who still plays Ghost of Tsushima? There's like 7 people on this server. It's us. Yeah.
I'm still a samurai.
No, shutting down the PS4 servers.
Get over here, Daddy Capitalism.
Which
That's right.
means the go button. It's VR, Grandpa. Let's get you to bed. There's no
Actually,
button.
dude, like that's a legitimate fear for me when I do get old because like I don't feel like I'm ever gonna not play video games. It's just a part of my life. And I used to work at an old folks home. That was my first job. I worked at an old folks
Your
home.
first
okay?
job?
It was my first job. I
That's
worked
an
at old
intense.
folks.
intense
I worked
first.
as a server. Okay, actually, I first was a dishwasher, then I was a server. Dishwashing that was really gross.
Oh, look at
Anyway,
that.
but I worked as a server. But you had to walk through the halls. You befriended all these people. But I got a front row seat of what it's like to be very, very old, and like the next step is okay. But like that's a legitimate fear for me, like not to have the ability to use my hands.
Oh
to play
god,
video
yeah.
games.
Drumming, but if you can't play video games, man,
That will be the cutoff.
Well, I figured the drumming will go first because that is more of my body. Like I think about around age 50, I'll start throwing out my back a little bit, and I'll be like, "Damn it, I'll have to like play drums like this."
I will say this: my dad turned 70 in August. Stage 4 cancer and Parkinson's, still drums. So
No
Are you
shit.
fucking kidding me?
Just
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Oh, it really is that easy.
it really is that easy. He's been
Huh.
Oh,
playing drums
fucking-
for 65 years.
That's fucking
didn't
killer.
quit, so you'll be just fine.
Okay, great. I hope I'm gonna be like that. Was that the what's that video that's on YouTube where that old guy is like that old, very very old man, just like really animated. It's like a wedding, and they're playing like Frank Sinatra or something, and he's like rocking out, just going like.
Shane, that's Travis Barker. That's who that is.
Travis Barker can't play
right.
jazz standards. Shush.
Yeah, that's. I'm truly scared of that.
I do
My,
have
my,
that
my plan as an old guitar player is to reduce the number of strings I have to deal with, and only play
Bass.
slide. Like just become like just a blues guy. Like you could just hand me a spoon and I can still do something. That's the plan. Just open.
Can't reach those chords, but man, you got that knack for melody. You know,
That's the idea.
you can use
Hey
your
kids,
medicine
you want to see
bottles,
what I can
like your glass
do with a
medicine
spoon? Ah, a good way to start off a sentence, but never
Hand
mind.
me your iPhone.
You want to see what I can do with a spoon?
Spoon?
That's
Yeah, some creepy old guy told me that by the park.
that's straight up. What is it? Herbert from
Oh,
Family Guy.
Family Guy.
Come closer,
with
dear.
a spoon. I was just trying to relate to him.
Get the fuck over here. Let me show you what I do with this.
Especially on Paper Boy. I actually got back into watching Family Guy, and now I'm watching it to like fall asleep and stuff. Like, God, this show is just so fucking funny.
I used to watch that addictively as a child.
Right.
When I was 1. Loved it when I was 1.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's how I learned the English
A
language.
good role model at that age.
Are we? Are we?
Articulate.
Did I get everyone's games? We kind of went.
You didn't ask me, but you took mine, so it's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
but what's your other one, Dane? Do you have
that
another
was
one?
pretty much it.
Okay.
I played 3 games this year, and you listed 2 of them. I will circle back to something Q said about the right game at the right time. I jumped into Tsushima in the fall, which was great because the first half of the game is just beautiful fall colors and maple trees and things like that. And I'm slow at it. I sort of moved into the multiplayer for a while, and I'm still going through the single player. But I'm in the 3rd act now, which is all winter, so everything is a winter landscape. It's actually been really perfect because it's sort of reflected what was outside. But we don't want to go outside. We're gamers. Like that's not what we do.
No.
So that was nice. No, it was those 2, and as I know this doesn't fit our format, but the 3rd game that literally sort of took up a good bit of brain space for me in the last year it was chess. And before you say it, we got into this. My friend Justin, who is with us right now, got me into it. We did this before the Queen's Gambit, like before it was hip to like do this again. We sort of dove into the online chess thing. So.
Wow, going.
We don't need to talk about that because it's really boring and esoteric, and there's a whole
But if you
community
take
for that.
the
if that's what
rook
you want.
first,
No, We're not. This is not.
It's funny.
no,
It's actually funny that you mentioned the Queen's Gambit.
Unless you want to circle back to Battle Chess, EA Electronic Arts, back
Dude.
in about 1989 or so, I think.
Dude, Battle Chess, dude. That was so. I never had it, but I had a buddy who had it, and I saw him play it. It was so cool when they
It was one of the first things that made chess cool. Yeah.
Yeah, when you took a spot or whatever, you killed the person.
Yeah. Harry Potter, total ripoff. It was there first.
Huh.
Yeah, like it had the animation of like killing a person. You had to have a good computer though, because I watched someone play it recently, and it's like the
frame rate was 3.
It's like
You had to have a Pentium 338 processor. That's not a real thing. The Pentium is. I don't remember the hertz.
It was a 386. Thank you.
86. Cool.
There were always 86s. Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, 86 Pentium.
Yeah.
86.
No.
Justin, what about you? What about your games for the year or the 2020 year of death and destruction?
Man.
Suit Larry 4, Leisure Suit Larry 5. Can we work this joke
And then I
into
went.
every podcast?
Then I
Yes.
went to the Lara Croft with the Tomb Raider, where she's very like low poly, but you could have the mod where she's not wearing any clothes. I went to that after Leisure Suit. No,
Laser.
I had that in my youth group, Justin.
No.
We
Pastor Gary's not gonna be happy about this one.
Man,
How
this
did
went
we
off the
turn
rails
into
so
this?
fast. Leave it to Leisure Suit Larry.
It went into it.
I'll tell you what, though, you talk about a decent soundtrack on a game.
Pyro Panic.
Guys, if I could add one character to Super Smash Brothers.
Oh my god!
Dude, if that's the final announcement, can't be mad at that, right? Can't be mad.
Dude, because hasn't the director been wanting to leave for like a while? Like he's been like getting kind of tired of like the same, like how many more characters can you put into the same game, bro?
We
Like
need to start a petition.
That's the ultimate.
I feel like the only way to retire is to do exactly that. Leisure Suit Larry and then drop the mic and walk off.
be amazing.
That would be. Well, man. Well, so I think that was made by Sierra Software, which also did like the old King's Quest and Heroes Quest. And
We
games.
did this last podcast. We
Dude,
do not
I know.
need to chase this
I know
rabbit
we
again.
don't need to, but
Does
like
anybody
we've all been
remember
playing the
Laser
same.
Shoot?
Yeah, right. We've all been playing the same games. Like I also played a lot of. I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima, which actually makes me a bit sad because I know Q played. I didn't know, Shane, that you played, and there's 4 of us, and the multiplayer is 4 people teams.
There's
And
still
I
time.
haven't gotten a single invite, so
Wow.
Oh, I don't play online though. I just don't.
0 out of 10 stars.
Yeah, Shay
should.
doesn't play online. I've tried to
Why?
convince him several times.
Well, because number one, I don't want to. I don't want to pay.
He does play.
I don't want to. I don't want to pay for an online subscription. Number one, because I don't play enough to do that. And then number 2, like
Says
like
the 30 games in your background.
Don't look at those. Don't pay attention to
I
those.
don't play online. Like the time I do have to play, which is very early in the morning, and then like okay, and then I go to work, and so like it's not a lot of people want to play video games
You
at
play
6
before
a.m.
work too. No, I play
If you're
before
worried
work
about the
too.
time
It's a Zen thing. Yeah.
If you're worried about the time at which people play video games, Shane, that's not a problem.
It certainly is
literally
not.
the first thing I do. Like, I
can
get up, I make a bowl
guarantee
of
you.
cereal, and I go and play online.
I've been up at 3 a.m. online matches on everything.
Well, we have
Every
to-
platform.
So,
I
okay, so
guarantee it.
first thing,
You can.
forget Shane. The rest of us need to play.
Yeah,
online.
there you go.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Sleep easy. Go ahead and
Drop
get
the
into
I
host.
have like a
game.
working microphone now. Like we can talk. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'd be
Man.
great.
So I've done that, and of course, Remake was amazing. I dove in to the not Demon Souls, the other one that's not Demon
Sekiro?
Souls.
Yeah,
No,
Demon's
it's the other
Bodies?
one.
Bloodborne.
Aside from Dark
Demon's
Souls.
Dreams.
Dark,
Oh, okay.
Demon's Fingers, Demon's Toes.
Demon's Recipes.
Demon
Yeah.
Elbow is. It's all good.
Exactly. I dove into specifically Dark Souls 2, which is widely hailed as the worst Dark Souls game, specifically because of
It's
the
the
nostalgia
worst.
factor. Yeah, because I wanted it to be as terrible as the year I was playing it in.
That's how we play video games. This is the best year ever. Time to play the good games.
No, but like there's a lot to be said. Like there are games to me that won't ever get old, even though I played the first Final Fantasy when I was like single digit age, and I would play it right now.
Wide range, Justin.
Yeah, right.
1 to 9.
Well, when the like I'll play. I haven't played 15, but I'll play 16, and played
16
most
looks
of the
good.
Final Fantasy games. And I also just moved to a new house, and I set up my 64, my Super Nintendo, my Nintendo. I set up my Atari 5200, and
Oh
was like,
Jesus!
yeah, I was ready.
You're
to
in
rock
it
some
now.
Dig Dug.
Buddy,
Yeah,
I've got the 6400 if you want it.
Oh my God!
that's kind of awesome. Does anyone have a
Dude,
2600?
seriously?
I actually do.
Wow.
Wow.
My dad's got a Coleco Vision.
Well, maybe it's the
Tomorrow.
26. Well,
ColecoVision's
now I'm
awesome.
getting my hundreds mixed up. I may have the 26. I don't know.
It's a lot of cartridges to blow. We'll pass it around.
I know I only have 2 joysticks and one of them won't turn left. So if I'm playing you in tank, you're screwed.
They're really bad at burger time, trying to get back across the level. But
Okay, back to you.
no, but speaking of the nostalgia thing, did anyone ever have an Intellivision? Does anyone remember Intellivision?
I know what you're talking.
I know
about.
what you're talking about. I've watched several videos about it, but I've never had it. No.
Okay, so they, not recently, like a couple years ago, a guy named Tommy Tallarico took over as CEO of Intellivision. And Tommy Tallarico is the guy that headed the video games live thing that's been going for like 20 years at this point. They just travel from town to town, working with the local symphonies, playing video game music. And I've caught them a few times at the Skirmerhorn here in Nashville, and I've been like obsessed with them because who doesn't want to just hear symphonic video game music? It's amazing.
Yeah, it's
And so they are actually releasing a console to compete with the Nintendo Switch. It was supposed to be released on my wedding day, actually.
But they delayed it for your wedding day, right? They
Specifically because
They
of
were
that.
very respectful,
Yeah.
and they answered my email,
reached
and they
out.
said they would
Yep.
release it the next day to,
Yeah, they
to
knew
not
that
steal my
day
thunder.
It's like I really like to
Everybody
stand in line, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody was going to be at the wedding, you know?
wait. Is this the same console that we were talking about with Earthworm Jim? The new
Yes.
Earthworm Jim game is going to be on there. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, I remember. Okay.
the
I'm on the same
Intellivision
page as you.
Amico.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's going to come out, and it's supposed to be released in a couple months, I think. I don't remember
I
the
gotta look
new
this up
date.
again.
But I am super stoked about that because they're going to remake like Pitfall. It's gonna be like a new Pitfall for it. And like Intellivision was the first video game system I had when I was like 4 years old. My dad and I would play. He would play Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and your party was like 3 pixels, like 3 black pixels moving across a shitty map. You know, it's like it was just terrible.
it was very
And-
advanced.
Yeah, and
Yes.
there was like asteroids and stuff. It was on there in a game called Snafu, which is like a snake game where you go and eat stuff and you get bigger and whatever.
Longer.
Yeah, but that is what I am looking forward to because 2020 sucked ass. So 2021 hopefully is going to be a lot better, and that's a big thing that I'm looking forward to this year.
I have to jump off of what you're saying because like for me, I very heavily relate to this sort of similar like mindset that you have because and I'll be honest, like I know that you guys I could imagine that you guys play way more games than I do. I think like I grew up playing them, but when I started getting older, it was something that became less and less frequent of a dedication. Like I would just put it off. I would do something else, draw, whatever, something else to relax. Or just like YouTube videos, which I know that like Shane, like you're a fan of like a bunch of like YouTubers like Angry Video Game Nerd. It's like those people were like the way that I started digesting video game content just because it was more convenient for me to listen to that and work. But as time has gone on and like, the itch is always there, but there's like a huge catalog for me like that isn't about like new games that I want to play. Like, of course I want to play Demon Souls. I want to play whatever the new Final Fantasy VII remake game is going to be and all this other stuff, but there's like so many games that I've missed out on. Like right now I have in my Steam library because there was just like a sale like a couple months ago for like all of the Resident Evil games, and I want to go through all of those games because I didn't want to touch 2, the remake of 2, until like I felt like I had like the system to run it on and all this other stuff. So I think 2020 and now 2021 is like the year for me where it's just like I'm just trying to catch up, you know, or revisit games that like are really close to me, like near and dear to my heart. So like any N64 game, any fucking SNES game, like I've been meaning to go back and play like Castlevania on the NES, which is like one of my favorite games of all time because it's so fucking fun
And hard.
and also hard as fuck.
Really difficult.
I remember being in my like living room fucking playing that game and just like losing my shit beating death because it was like one of the coolest, like it was my gamer moment, quote unquote. Like I was like, yeah, Dark Souls moment, you know, beat a boss and just lose your mind. But yeah, so like I connect with you on that because it's like I want to play the games that are close to me that I loved playing and haven't like revisited in a while. I think that was the same point I was trying to make with 7, where it's like this is just like a comfortable game for me to like revisit. So even though it's not the age of like new games like Cyberpunk 2077, where it's like this isn't really working out for me, it's like there's just this whole library of other games that I just haven't like either had the time to appreciate or just want to go back and like live in for like a little bit. The Zen Garden, so to speak. This is the theme of this podcast.
Zen Garden.
The Zen Garden games.
Well, it's funny, you know, it's like it's funny that you talked about like how when you get older and you know, you start to drift away. I did for a while in like my early 20s because I was living with 5 dudes and we were all about like music and we would practice 5 days a week and we were trying to make it, man. Anyway,
I thought you were 19.
Sweet.
Oh God.
Oh.
Dude, if we were 19, just be no, we wouldn't have survived. But you know, it's what was I? Oh, I got.
You were saying is like the idea of like you kind of like lost touch with gaming and then kind of came back into it.
Oh yeah, and I started to realize what video games did for me physically and mentally, and it really was sort of like a meditation. Like I felt better, like getting like scratching the itch, if you will, and I felt better afterwards, and I felt like it was sort of like leveling me out. Like I wasn't as stressed. I wasn't as agitated. You know, it was just kind of like, I was like, oh, this is medicine. This is what this is. And then from that point on, I just never stopped really.
Well, I agree like very heavily with the idea of medicine. I think, and maybe like, and just preaching to the choir probably here, but like I also spent like a good portion of like my earlier like years, like 19 and then like early 20s, like trying to make it. And so like a lot of the time of like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do like anything like that. You got to just kind of do, you know, whatever it is to get the thing that you want. So like relaxing doesn't really play into that as much, or it didn't for me at least. So like, but like looking back on it now, it's like, man, like I wish I was like keeping up with this stuff because now it's like, because that would have been like a really nice like way to unwind. So like, having started this channel for like YouTube and then also talking to you guys who have like kind of been around the block in terms of just playing games, it's a nice thing to like think about. It's like, oh, like revisiting this stuff is kind of healthy. Gaming is not the devil, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be something that dies off this generation.
Unless
but I read on the internet that it was.
Unless you're playing Cyberpunk 2077, then dude, guys. Actually, I want to say this real quick.
Honestly, it's not that bad.
No, it's not.
Apparently,
it's I just like to fuck with people. But like my friend Evan, like we had a whole podcast about it. We talked about it, and he has the game, and he's just like he doesn't really gripe about the glitches, which is what everyone is griping about. He's griping about the actual game, which was like surprising to me because like The Witcher is like our favorite game. Like we fucking love that game. And so he sends me this text. He sends me texts every now and then of his like experiences with the game. This is his text. This is great. So get this. I'm faced with 2 choices, A and B. Johnny Silverhand says, choose B, but I can't choose B because my intelligence stat isn't high enough. So I choose A. And Keanu Reeves, who I've looked up to since I was a kid, goes, "You're a real piece of shit." No, Cyberpunk, you're a real piece of shit.
Oh, that might be just the best way to summarize a game I've ever heard. This man I've looked up to. Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. Have any of you guys ever come across the game Divinity 2 or Divinity? I don't. Yeah, I think that's one of my brother's favorite games, and I think there was a part of my brain that finally, I was never a D&D guy, but like one of the things about that game is that too many options for me is a bad thing in my mind. I figured that out is that if you give me like all of this free will to just like customize or do whatever I want, it's like, I'm not that fucking imaginative motherfucker. Paint me a picture. I'm not trying to like paint my own journey here. Like I like the sandbox idea, but when it gets down to like too many choices, I always feel like I'm like, I feel like it's a daunting task. So like if I don't have enough intelligence, it's like, well, do I want to replay this game to like do it this way or something like that? I know people kind of enjoy going back and just like doing different runs with different like stats and stuff like that. I like choosing Sora's like sword or shield like as an option. It's like,
well, it's funny that
it's
funny that you mentioned that, because I recently read an article. I was actually thinking about writing or doing a video about the differences between Japanese RPGs and Western RPGs. But a million people have done it already. So I'm like, I'm not good enough to do a video like this. But in doing so, like I did a little research, and I remember reading an article that like how Japanese RPGs are more, they write the story for you, and this is your story. This is the written story that you're experiencing. And Western RPGs are more in the D&D style, where they give you as many options as possible, because that gives you a more sense of freedom. And apparently in Western culture, like the whole idea of freedom is a little bit more important.
Make sure you edit an eagle, like
Yeah.
Daddy
Freedom!
Capitalism coming in.
Yeah,
Just
man.
throw up a picture of the Statue of Liberty.
But the
tear coming down.
But the idea of how you have a say in the story, as opposed to the Japanese style, which is basically, hey, this is, play it. This is the story. We want you to enjoy it the way it's supposed to be written.
Right.
So
I think that
I think at a certain point though, like I do agree with statement Sleepy said earlier, where it's like too many options is kind of a bad option, to where like you're giving a game with a seemingly infinite amount of choices to get to seemingly infinite amount of endings within a limited system, and it kind of takes away from the gameplay experience. Just like you were saying earlier, how your friend didn't have the intelligence level to choose the other option, and that sort of thing that sets back the gameplay to where like, oh, well, fuck, now I got to go back to this previous point so I can build up to that certain part so that I can choose the actual other option.
Right. Yeah, it's in that example, that's the illusion of choice.
Yeah.
Because you do something one way, you don't have any other choices other than that one way.
Right.
But also in another sense, it's just, when you get too deep into the choose your own adventure, it like you said, it becomes more of a chore than playing through a story.
That's exactly how Divinity 2, not to like go, I'm not going to go off on this, but like in terms of like how Shane was putting it with like just the 2 intelligence in Divinity 2, like I was watching my brother play it, and he had there was like, at least in like the like 5-minute span I was watching him, there were like at least like 7 different choices each cutscene in that 5 minutes. And I was like, I started getting anxiety looking at it. It's because it's like, am I choosing the best option? Like, what are like the slew? It's like a completely, talk about fucking timelines. There's like 20 different ways that this game can be played. And I'm like, am I playing the wrong one for some reason? Like, I was just like, oh, like stop, like, there's too many different ideas here.
But see, that kind of thing, like I am excited, but I play both, honestly. But like, I really enjoy the choose your own adventure kind of thing. When it's done correctly, obviously it can go awry, really.
Do we think that we're not drawn to that because it's too close to real life?
I think so, for me.
Hey,
for
honey,
sure.
where do you want to order dinner tonight? There's 40 options.
Dane, that hit so close to me that hurt. I got that physical. I physically like leaned back in my chair.
Which
I was
one
like,
do I click
geez.
on?
Don't even
Yeah,
talk
exactly.
don't even talk about choosing dinner options at the Wise household. Oh my God. It's like
Don't
it's
do
like we should bring out the whiteboard and be like, okay, so Arby's and Hardee's is 5 minutes away.
Done
We can
this
just
one, but DoorDash doesn't deliver there, and we have the account with them. And
Moments
a
like these,
distinction
I'm glad
here.
I've never had that issue.
Okay, wait a second. There's a distinction here because I just realized is that what I was talking about was a story path thing. And I like Breath of the Wild where it's like, if I want to kill that dude from like 8 yards away with a crossbow or whatever I have, or throw a sword or whatever, like that's gameplay option. And that freedom is fun. But if it's a story thing, I'm out. Like I can't, like, don't do that to me. Please don't like me.
Yeah.
I'm curious, man. Have you ever played Mass Effect?
No, I haven't. But I
was
also
just about to bring up Mass
watched that.
Effect or Dragon Age. The original Dragon Age, 2 was good too, but 1 was
Well,
great.
What about Mass Effect? Was the thought there?
So in Mass Effect, they made it so that if you play through the entire series, there's 4 or 5 of them now, but they made it like originally you play through the game and you choose options and they affect literally the entire rest of the game. And they made it so that if you had saved game data, you could it would search for that on your console. And if you were playing Mass Effect 3, decisions you made in your game save from Mass Effect 1 would affect Mass Effect 3. And so I'm wondering if that's your literal hell, or if
That sounds terrible to me.
I feel like we're like 2 degrees away from like decisions you make in the game affect the way people treat you in real life.
Yeah, there's a
But
very
we're not getting far off from where
yes,
your boss at work is like, couldn't help but notice you killed the peasant last night.
It's like situations like that. Like you shouldn't
talk about
have
this.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, situations like that. It's like a video game shouldn't make you live with your consequences that far down the series.
I'm trying to escape real life, not like
If I blow up the Death Star in the first game, don't have me thinking about it in the third game. That's old news.
Exactly.
Okay, well, what about, have you ever played Kingdom Hearts?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever did you play through having chosen like the shield and like the staff? And,
Yeah.
did you go
So I
back
have had
and
different
try-
routes.
Spoiler alert for everyone.
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Sorry, Kingdom Hearts 1 spoiler alert.
Spoiler for literally every start of every game. But the
This is not a spoiler-free discussion.
discussion. This is exact. Hey, who said that? I don't know. I should be in prison for wasting everybody's time. I have played Kingdom Hearts, but that's a gameplay thing, right?
Right.
Is
Okay,
that
so-
the gameplay thing is like, okay, well, if I want to choose like a different perfect example, Bloodborne or Dark Souls, it's like there's a different type of way to play the game with each weapon. It's like, do I want to do small amount of damage but be quick? Or do I want to be a heavy hitter? By the way, I'm a spin to win guy, so I will just like choose the heaviest weapon ever and just go out about it that way, and then everything
spam
else.
square, win.
Exactly. Charge. Just learn the move of the boss enough to just stand in the right place and just do a shit ton of damage. That's me. I'm the cheap gamer
Well,
who
no,
needs talent.
I'm with you. I mean, like, I feel like I get surprised when modern games have that level of like storytelling depth where you are kind of required, if you want the entire story, you're required to play through it multiple times. And like back in the 90s, before any of you guys were ever born, but I was already old, there weren't 1,000 game companies putting out 1,000 games every year,
Right.
Like it didn't matter if there were 60 hours of gameplay that you had to go through 3 times to catch all the details of. Because if you liked it enough, you had the time, and there weren't a billion other options out there.
Choices. You can just go and pick from your game library. You had to wait till you either had enough money to buy another game or blockbuster years for me, which is like,
well, I
return
think
this and get a new game.
As far as like storyline choice, I think what we're talking about, like, it's sort of been the evolution of especially RPGs where giving gamers more options to play how they want to play the game. Like, of course, there's a ceiling to that because you can only do so much with one game. But I think what people are starting to realize is that they want for number one, representation. People want people to feel represented, like, as you know, with different storylines and stuff like that. You know, race, gender, who they are as a person, like, and I think that's another reason why they put in a lot of different story branches, because they want the player to feel like they are immersed in the game, like they feel like they're the player playing it, as opposed to I'm just following along for the ride.
Fair. I hadn't actually considered that because I'm a white male and represented in
well, I wasn't even saying it just to be I wasn't even saying it just to be super
Justin,
woke, but I was just
expected to think about other people.
I was just saying, like, for me,
where's daddy capitalism? Somebody insert.
No, but what I was saying was, like, I feel like, you know, giving someone, okay, for example, like, I prefer to play as a male, but there are people who like to play as a female, and
female character all the time.
I played female characters in WoW, in like Dark Souls all the time.
Same.
Yeah.
Nintendo 64. I am always Natalia, whatever she is in GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
And
Yeah,
so
I knew her.
You're gonna get killed by the hot chick.
I like to
every
be
time.
Xenia. No, I like to be Xenia because she's the hot chick. Natalia.
Oh my gosh, the real waifu wars.
No, I got it mixed up. Oh
From
man, we need to
GoldenEye.
fight this
Xenia
out.
on the top.
Something I'd like to add to that is one thing I appreciate about Cyberpunk is it gives me the freedom to be a woman, but also have a penis.
There you go. Look at that. Everyone wins. Cyberpunk 77. That's what it should just say at the bottom.
That's what Cyberpunk sold me, all right? That's the peak of gaming is penis customization.
Penis customization
And they gave me that.
Which brings us back to Leisure Suit Larry.
It was all going to tie back in there. We worked the Kurosawa thing in, and then
Guys,
we headed
it is
back
the
right
nexus for everything, whether we like it or not.
That's this one channel singularity is Leisure Suit Larry.
I do think that there's some truth, though, of, like, I mean, I would watch a game like Mass Effect. Like, to just really quickly comment on that, because you were asking me if that was my hell or not. I would say that, like, I enjoy like the backseat gamer position for those games where it's like, I want to see this unravel because now I'm interested in the story. I'm not interested in the gameplay. Like, I kind of exclusively those things are separate when it gets into those sort of finer details. It's like, I want to see somebody else go through this and make the decisions. My brother, actually, one of his favorite game series of all time is Mass Effect and Dragon Age. He liked the earlier ones, not like the more recent ones, but I would watch him play those. Same with like Chrono Cross, which is another game that like is like super near and dear to me, but there's like 50 different characters in that game that you can have in this RPG.
I think there's 90.
Yeah, exactly, like an insane amount, and then different paths that you can take, and different, like, they all have different dialogue, and it's all this like huge thing. Some of them are less written than others, but it's just interesting to like see like a story unfold like that from a outside perspective.
Which I feel like they took that from Suikoden. That's another game. If no one's played Suikoden or Suikoden 2 on the PlayStation, original PlayStation,
recently released English Suikoden 3 in English patch for the recent release of Nintendo Switch. Check it out, guys. Link is in. No, we don't. No, we don't, Dane. Where did you pick that up? Is it the fact that we said Soup Den? Pick up Soup Den 3 and Soup Den 4. Desu.
So at the Sushi Den,
Ghost of Sushi, Mima. Jesus.
Oh yes, Ghost of Sashimi.
Ghost of Sashimi.
That's it. Yeah.
Ghost
DLC
of Dragon Roll.
Sushi. Yes, exactly.
On soy mode. Yeah, great.
So we've shit on the Japanese language and old people in this podcast. What else is on the list here of things that we need to burn those bridges now, ladies and gentlemen?
A million of the worst things I've ever thought just crossed my mind when you said that. And it took a lot of restraint not to say any of them.
You gotta. Hey, you know what?
There's one dancing around on the tip of my tongue right now.
All of Shane's advertisers.
So before we do that,
daddy capitalism is losing.
We're bringing down daddy capitalism. That eagle is falling into the lake, and
But
Anyway.
dude, yeah. So we couldn't Chrono Cross, man. Like when you said Chrono Cross, I was like, I just remembered playing Chrono Cross. A lot of people didn't like it because they thought it was gonna be like Chrono Trigger, which is one of the best games that's ever been made and one of my favorite games of all time. Like
Live
That's
stream
a
was dope,
self-plug,
by the
and I
way.
hear it.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was great.
yeah, I did just recently do the soundtrack on my live stream, so you should check that out if you
Yeah,
haven't.
it was fucking dope. It was real cool, actually.
But no,
Saved.
freaking that game. What else is a good like near and dear one to my heart? Final Fantasy VI. That's another one.
That's my favorite.
Did anyone ever play Lufia?
No.
It was for the old.
Really hard.
It's really hard and
Really
really not
difficult.
that fun. But for some reason, I always tried to play it.
No, it is a grind, my friend. Yeah.
What's a game that you guys like that isn't good?
It's
Like,
funny. I've been
objectively.
marinating that same question through this whole thing. Like, what is your favorite unpopular game?
Do the Dynasty Warriors games count? Because objectively speaking, they're not like the most extravagant game. They're not the most well thought out game. It's basically the same game that's been made ever since 2000. Just that Musu slash and kill everybody. Has anyone played
Yes.
those games? I mean,
I have. Yeah.
They're like my guilty pleasure. I love those games.
I thought they were badass when I first played them. I haven't played one since the PS2 era, but those games are fun.
It's the same.
Those are fun. Yeah, I
It's
thought
the
so.
same.
I was looking at Hyrule Warriors and being like, this is literally the same game I played like 10 years ago. So fine with that.
They just can't. They're coming out with Persona 5 Strikers, which is another Musu
Yes.
title, but it's going to be Persona 5, and I'm like, I'm in. I
I'm
love
there.
Persona 5.
I've seen some streamers, they have done the gameplay of the Japanese release, which I'm pretty sure is just called Persona 5 Scramble. And yeah, it looks fun. It looks interesting. I've definitely been a big fan of those like hack and slash type games.
Hack and slash is always
Yeah,
fun.
but I would say that's a good guilty pleasure experience. Dynasty Warriors, especially when they have the English dub. Whew, you wanna talk about like guys who are just phoning it in?
Straight up zeroing. Yeah. Someone set up us the bomb. Well, we talked about the D.
Oh yeah,
I loved that game, and it is
Sure did.
one of the worst games.
I still need to play it.
Terrible. It's an
Is
awful
that
game.
sort of in the same line
it's-
of like Clock Tower, like for the PS1 and PS no, just
dude, you
and
played
it's-
Clock Tower? Oh man,
Yeah, fun.
Dude.
What?
Clock Tower for the PS1.
gotta
It's like a
Google.
point. It's a point and click. So
Oh,
it's,
I love point and clicks. Like those are actually soft spot in my heart.
Oh, you would love them because it's a horror point and click, and it's kind of terrifying.
It
I
is
liked
kind of
it.
terrifying, like because the
I've
guy with
never
the
heard of
scissors
this
comes
one.
out of nowhere at all times. It's actually there's a lot of things in Clock Tower and PS1 that's kind of, or in the original Clock Tower for SNES, which never came out here in the States, where you're just kind of like, whoa,
What?
like
Who's
there's like so much
Jennifer?
foreboding going on in the SNES version. Like it came out in the 95 or something like that, and no game like portrayed horror like that.
Scissor Man, by the way, super iconic idea. Like I thought, like I was like, this is like a great idea for like a slasher villain, quote
Edward
unquote.
Scissorman? I
Those
remember
are
that
very-
movie. Yeah. That's-
Those
Big
scissors don't even look like
scissors.
they'd work.
They do though, and he skewers his victims. I'm selling this game.
Scissor.
But it's
No,
also not just him. It's also like these weird not mythological, but like ghost stuff happens too. Just like out of nowhere, like hands come out of mirrors and shit.
I mean, this totally looks up my alley. I love this. This is
No, if
beautiful.
you like, when you pitched me the idea, Justin, of D, I was like, that's all I could think of. I was like, that's kind of like in the same realm. So like, I know that and I'm gonna clear the air here. I'm sorry for shitting on that game because Clock Tower is like literally the same kind of like,
You don't need to
it's-
apologize for shitting on that game. It just,
Oh
I
my
wanna
goodness,
play
the
it. I wanted to
advertisement
play it.
says sheer terror. SHEAR.
Oh my god! I recommend playing the remake for PS1 if you can find it on any legal means like Amazon or eBay. Those are places that are.
eBay's not legal.
Oh, of course, eBay's not legal. That statement alone, out of context, is really funny. eBay's just not legal.
the dark web.
So go download Tor and get your copy of Clock Tower. That's where you get it.
Goodness.
Sorry,
Yeah.
but you were saying about D, and I can see that. I can see why that might not be the greatest fun game, but fun.
It's not a good game.
Speaking of point and clicks, I have such a soft spot for. Did anybody do Maniac Mansion in the NES, which was later had a sequel called Day of the Tentacle, which was the first of the LucasArts games.
Wait, the first of the LucasArts games?
I think it predated like Full Throttle and all the ones
Definitely
that we hold
predated
dear.
Full Throttle.
Grim Fandango.
What about the Dig? Do you remember the Dig? Did anyone play the Dig?
The Dig may have been in the middle there.
Wow. That was the earliest one that I knew of. But
never
heard
Maniac
of
Mansion was
Day of the Tentacle.
NES, so that was
Right.
like OG.
But Day of the Tentacle I'd never heard of.
Day of the Tentacle CD-ROM, baby.
Now I need to look into it.
Yep.
I will say, if you guys are a fan of Tim Schafer games, which is like Day of the Tentacle.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember this name. Yeah.
Yeah, Broken Age. He did like the writing on Full Throttle and all this other stuff. He released a game sometime in, I think it was like 2014. He released a game called Broken Age. But if you guys want to watch like one of the greatest,
Broken Age or Broken Sword?
Broken Age.
Okay.
Age. Oh, it is a Tim Schafer. Okay.
It was a recently made point and
Oh my
click
goodness.
game.
Yeah. This gets amazing reviews.
But there's an amazing documentary attached to that, the making of, because it was one of the first big Kickstarter games ever.
Oh,
like it's
wow.
one of those games.
No kidding.
So one of the backing goals, I guess, was to film a documentary of the making of it. And it's one of the greatest like behind the scenes of like this company sort of like burning as they're making this game. Like just so many things go wrong. And it's one of those things that I like to put on the background while I work. And for anybody else who hasn't seen that, like totally check
this
it
is
out.
available on PS4. Like it's
I was
in the
going
PlayStation
to
Store,
say
so.
that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Talk about like what you were saying about the fucking Intellivision, Justin. This is like a complete fucking throwback to like one of those games. So
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, totally worth checking out. Fun stuff.
These are some of my favorite genre that ever exist. I just did Grim Fandango this last year. That's funny. I should have mentioned that was an early one I did. Yeah, I got the Switch port for that, and I'd forgotten how much It's funny how ahead of the curve like the voice acting was in those games.
It's fantastic.
Like I still find like modern PlayStation games and stuff like that with worse voice acting than these had.
Resident Evil voice acting, though, you can't beat that, right?
I mean, you can't beat it. It is just,
Oh boy.
it is the best.
No.
Jill.
Look at this. Forest. It's just like, what am I looking at?
I think the five
Clock
of
Tower
us-
2 also has it too.
Yeah,
so.
no, the
Oh.
five of us should definitely revoice. We should pick a game, like collectively our favorite game, and revoice the entire thing.
I'm so down for this.
I
This
love it.
sounds like an overcommitment, and I'm totally saying yes to it
It's-
right
it
now.
would be like the dumbest
I am
thing,
so
and
in.
it-
That sounds like so much fun.
It would be amazing. We all have
This-
the
Oh, man.
capacity to record.
Yeah.
We also, yeah, we gotta
Audio.
we gotta do the males. We gotta do the females as well.
Absolutely.
Quentin said he loves playing as a female with a wiener, so
Yeah.
you got that unlocked.
You got it.
Just do a female voice, but give it a little Willie.
Oh my god. Oh,
We could do like a live reading. Like we could do this.
That would
Yeah.
be a live.
We'll rent out a
script
theater,
reading.
Oh,
we'll run out of
man.
theater, dude. When this is over, 2022 guys coming in hot. Hopefully
man.
earlier than that. But Jesus.
Shane,
run
I
out of
think we
theater.
just found our new niche.
This is it. This is it,
Oh.
man. We got 2 video editors here. we're ready
My
to
whole
go.
life
What
is
are we
about
gonna call our
overcommitting.
studio?
Let Justin run audio.
We got 2 writers.
Clearly, I'm the most well equipped to do that.
Oh, you guys.
I see what you're doing. I thought about doing that too. I didn't want to freak anyone out. If it came from my end, they'd be like, "This fucking idiot."
Fucking daddy capitalism over here.
That's the name of our production company.
Daddy capitalism.
Daddy Capitalism presents.
A
Jesus
capitalism
Christ.
production.
I'm serious. I'll do it. I'll get some. I'll capture some video game footage, and we can totally do this. We got mics.
Oh man, this is gonna be gorgeous.
I have nothing going on in my life.
We'll just fucking workshop it, guys. We'll workshop it. I'm invested.
Put a pin in it.
We gotta think of the game.
Yeah, we can circle back.
Leisure Suit Larry 3. I'm not letting
How
go.
about Leisure Suit Larry 4?
It's my thing. This is what we do.
I swear, the next if on the next podcast you come on here and you're dressed as Leisure Suit Larry, I'm gonna be very upset.
I'm gonna be so happy.
Will you though?
Yeah, that will make my day.
Probably not. No, I won't be upset.
That's
I'll be really happy.
Created the argument in the comments.
I'd need to shave a bald spot though, like to do it right. Like he was always sort of that that casino lurking. Yeah.
I believe in you. You can do it.
Yeah.
Polyester is expensive these days, man. Getting a white polyester suit to
You get it, yeah.
Be tough.
You got it, man. Guilty pleasure games. Did anyone else go? Who else wants to go?
Yeah. Who else loves something that's not lovable?
I was gonna say Mach X is probably objectively maybe the worst gameplay wise I've ever played. I brought this up on the first podcast we ever did, Shane. It's a Dreamcast game.
That's right.
Where it has a super cool mechanic. This is the only reason I like it. And this is it. Ironically, the guy who does the Persona 5 designs, that artist did this game. I think not like made it, but he did like the concepts and stuff like that. So it looks like straight out of that world. But you can take over the bodies of the bosses that you defeat. So like instead of just being like, you start out as like a schoolgirl and then you can become like a ninja and then you can become like the president of the United States who's a boss or something like that. It's just this, it's objectively like all over the place and like a mess, but it's like,
but can you be a schoolgirl ninja?
With a penis.
Give me a think. Yeah, well,
yes, with the penis.
Dane looked up like Dane had the money shot right there. I just was watching him and just all of a sudden looking down, just going right up. Excuse me, what did
Goes to Chupina.
So again, guys, follow us on Twitter, like the video, and thank you so much for subscribing. Tell us what your favorite customization of Cyberpunk 2077 was, and we'll make sure to get back to it in the next episode.
Dude,
I feel like based on mentions alone, we should expect a Sierra endorsement on this podcast.
Yeah, this is brought to you by Tim Schafer, specifically him. Absolutely funded.
I'm still reading about Broken Age. Elijah Wood is a voice actor in this thing?
He was a fan of his games, and he tweeted about it, and then Tim Schafer was like, well, we don't have the voice for this guy yet. Do you just want to do it? And he was I absolutely want to fucking do this.
I love Elijah Wood even more now.
He's actually he also is the fucking producer on one of my favorite movies of this last 2 years. So
Lord of the Rings,
he's
man.
The man. Lord of the Rings. Broken Age actor. Yeah, he does all this shit.
No, what movie did he produce?
He helped produce Mandy, which is one of my favorite movies of the last I don't know. I think it was released in 2019, the last couple of years. So super good. Nicolas Cage movie, super Actually, this weirdly ties into something I was going to bring up with this whole debate about
the Declaration of Independence
of daddy capitalism, is that it's about the way, because I look at things from a movie perspective most of the time, even games, where it's there's enough of a structure that needs to be there story wise in order for me to get invested in something, but then the other 70% of a movie can just be an aesthetic thing. Where it can kind of be left up to interpretation, and Mandy is 95% visual, and the story is fucking crazy. So, but it's so good looking. It's super good looking. So, and Nicolas Cage just loses it in most of the scenes. So
that's where he's best, where he just loses his fucking mind.
This is
unhinged Nicolas Cage.
For some reason, that movie makes me think of Inherent Vice.
Yeah.
Where it's just 90% just oh, look at the scene, and then the rest of it is just kind of
you're trying to pay attention to the dialogue, but then this actually doesn't matter at all, apparently, even though it sounds really complicated. It literally just
I read online that Nicolas Cage is actually still John Travolta with his face.
Really?
the
If
never
anybody
picked up-
gets that joke,
It
if
makes
anybody
sense.
gets that joke without touching their browser, you're in. But if you don't,
Yeah.
I want to take his
Then-
face.
I remember my first time watching that movie.
you remember the first time you saw it?
Yeah, it was like 3 years ago.
Day in any young man's life,
Shit.
the first day. Yeah.
I just remember like back when I was going to school, my roommate talking about that movie all the time for some reason, and just randomly he was like, "Yeah, we gotta watch it." I was like, "Okay, fine, we'll watch it."
Fucking damn.
It's like Die Hard to a lot of people, man. Face Off, The Rock, Con Air, like
It is not like Die Hard to a lot of people.
It is not like Die Hard.
Does Die Hard
that-
does this movie replace Die Hard in the cinematic?
Well, no,
I would say it's
place at
like
Christmas. It's
Die
not a Christmas
Hard.
movie.
Shane, you're gonna get a lot of people upset in your comment section. You gotta chill.
come at me, bro.
Send
Come at
send
me, bro.
all of your complaints to Tim Schafer's email address, which we will have in the drop down description.
Address complaints to the Monsanto Corporation.
Broken Age is it came out 2014. Check it out. Plug.
I'm excited for that.
I think the only thing that replaced Die Hard for me was like maybe the most recent like Mad Max movie. I think that was like one of my favorite action movies of all time. Maybe. Also, the theater experience and that was like super good. Have you guys seen Fury Road? Oh God,
of
fuck
course.
that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fury
I-
Road's great. Like
That movie.
surprisingly great.
It is my goal in life to become the Doof Warrior.
There you go. All right, so we have life
Guy
goals already set from the
Strapped
movie.
to guitar amps, just
Perfect.
shredding away. Yeah.
That being said, I haven't watched it as many times, so
I mean,
Only
well,
that
I-
nigga
to be
don't
to
let
be
you try.
completely clear here, I think my favorite Die Hard was actually Die Hard 3. So actually, Die Hard 3 replaced Die Hard for me.
It
Die
shouldn't do that.
Hardest? Is that die?
died
Hard,
harder
Die
than the
Hardest?
last time.
No,
Die most
Die,
hardest?
Die,
I think it's harder.
Die,
You're talking about the
Hard.
Samuel L. Jackson
Die
one,
Hard
right?
3 with a vengeance.
Yes.
Yeah, it's with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, Samuel L.
right.
Jackson.
Right.
That movie is
Die
good
Hard
in like a
Hard.
very different way. It's like, oh God, we can get into this, but the structure of Die Hard is so tight, like it's just airtight. Like there's no wiggle room in that movie. Everything is there and fine. And then I think of like 3, and I'm like, this is just a really cool idea. Like I really like this idea. This like setting is cool and everything.
Yeah, and
it's
what's
not.
Jeremy Irons as the bad guy? Like
There you go.
you can't go wrong. That's like
There you go.
yeah, freaking
Finished. That's all they wrote in the script. Samuel L. Jackson, bad guy is this guy, and I guess Bruce Willis can be in it and just call it Die Hard 3.
yeah.
We'll
There wasn't
figure out
even a
the rest.
script. They were just like, yeah, we'll get these guys together. We'll
Yeah.
put them in a building and see what happens.
Well, that's how fucking ironically, not to be serious about that. Let me adjust my glasses here and tell you a detail. Fucking Mad Max Fury Road was made with like 8 storyboards. He was like, these are the scenes and that's it. Like he didn't have a script. These were just the beats of the story. And it's like, I'm just going to figure it out later. But
impressive.
that's what he like showed everybody.
Really
It's like,
impressive.
this is my movie. And it's like, okay. I
Can
guess
you
we'll fund
imagine
this.
though? Like,
I
hey,
mean, your
wrote
last
this
movie was Happy Feet. This guy's definitely gonna fucking knock this out of the park with 8 drawings that are being shown to me right now.
Which
Just
is
the way
funny
you
'cause
described
Happy
that,
Feet had 700 storyboards, very detailed.
Okay, here's a fun
Well,
game.
the
Here's a
way
fun
you-
game that we can play like for the last 15 minutes because I gotta get out of here in like 15 minutes. But what movie that was actually made that? But if you were in the meeting at the storyboard meeting trying to convince the execs to fund the movie, which movie storyline would be the hardest to like convince the execs? Do you think?
anything ever made in the 80s. Are you kidding me? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
Blanket
Ghostbusters?
statement,
Like, get
80s.
outta
Well,
here.
Ninja Turtles, that was a comic book. You can sell a comic book, you know, into a movie. You can do, because if it's
We're
successful
going
in one
based on
medium,
storyline alone.
on storyline alone, like it's a brand new story, it doesn't have anything else attached to it. It's just some guy made a story and he's going to pitch it. I would imagine, like, I'm going to say mine, Back to the Future. Now, why you say? Because
You
you're
say
gonna
that because of the John Mulaney joke.
no, yes, exactly. Because when he brought it up, I was like, "That's so true. That's so true." Freaking, you know, you're at the meeting. He's like, it's like the John Mulaney joke. You're exactly right. It's like, so there's time travel, and that's already a hard pitch. But he also kisses his mom.
Oh God, yeah.
You know,
I
that
just
just
rewatched
makes
those
you-
movies.
Wait.
That flashback just
Why
happened.
would you pick for a harder sell Back to the Future and not Back to the Future 3?
Look, they go back in time, right? But not the same place. They go back to the West. That's where this movie takes place. That's the heart of the story there.
Yeah.
The heart of the
It's
story is
called
in the
Back.
West.
There's 3 movies called Back to the Future, and only one of them they go to the actual future.
Yeah, right.
Unsubscribed.
And not
0
even
out
the
of
first
10.
one. They go to the past in the first one.
The
Dane?
Mighty Ducks.
Oh.
Oh, not a bad.
No,
On this
actually,
entire dumb genre of like professional guy has to coach kids. Oh my god!
sports movies are never hard sells. That's
Yeah,
that's all. You've seen just any sports movie. A lot of them are just so stupid.
except for Miracle, because America.
Oh, anything with America.
Hey, we'll give that a pass.
Actually, you know what? I'll take it back. Teen Wolf. That sports movie that is hard to sell.
Yeah.
Just imagine the boardroom meetings. Like, all right, so we just follow this average, everyday American team who, plays high school sports, real good at basketball. Okay.
Mhm.
But here's the kicker. Whenever he gets upset, he turns into a werewolf. It's like, oh, so it's supposed to be a horror. He attacks the students. He's like, no. This just makes him better at basketball.
Actually, the more you talk about this, the more I'm into it. I think you're kind of undercutting your own
The
point.
swings here are like, oh, basketball.
I am super into this.
So Angry Werewolf plays basketball. Yeah, real good.
Also, this is also a good idea for like a thing too. We were talking about voice acting over like old games. Like, what's the pitch like this? Like, this is a great game. I never thought about this until just now. Market this, Shane. This is a freebie.
Get on it, man.
Layup. Team yourself up to that fucking hoop, bro.
I'll get right to work on it.
Yeah.
What about you, Sleep Easy? What's your movie?
I was thinking Human Centipede
Oh my god.
because I feel like you can't really get through that. Like, there's no explanation.
Yeah. So they're all sewn together.
That's
like,
it.
Like at the hip. Or
It's the fact that it's just so simple, and then you just say to them, "That's it." It's like
That's
there's
literally
nothing
the
else
whole
about
movie.
this.
Oh,
That's the
I
whole
just had
movie.
another one pop in my head.
Huh?
You never see the movie It Follows?
Yeah,
Yeah, a movie about a demonic STD.
that's right.
That feels like a church PSA. Like,
That's so true. Now that I think about
premarital
it.
sex is a sin, and you'll be haunted for life.
Oh, but what about the what about the
So-
other? That just reminded me of the movie with the phone that kills you.
Oh yeah, that's all.
Remember that one? Like they even mentioned it in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where he's like,
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
Oh,
It ended up actually being like a real thing after that. Yeah.
And let's not forget about all those movies, Attack of the Killer, whatever random object is.
Tomatoes. Attack of the
Killer
Killer
Tire.
Yeah,
Tomatoes.
all these.
Attack of the Killer Donut.
Two brothers, attack of the tomato weapon. Okay.
This is starting to sound like interdimensional cable.
Well, that's what it was. Yeah. It's just called Two Brothers.
It's just two brothers,
Just
and then
two
Grady
brothers.
show up and cross attack.
Yeah. Anybody seen the movie Teeth?
Yes.
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking
Well,
about.
I-
that would be
I have
my
a
pick
deep-
for not being able to pitch that. Like
I
in
have
the
a
room.
deep hate for that entire movie.
It's terrible.
Was it
I need to
called?
watch it.
It's
Called
called
Teeth.
Teeth.
Just
Look,
have your
I
followers
hate it
Google
already.
We don't have to talk about
Yeah, I
it.
don't
don't-
think we can.
I
even
feel
if
like we
want
need
I
to
don't-
explain. I feel like we need to
No,
explain
no.
a little bit.
You don't understand.
Okay, here's-
Okay, so
here's
the
what you're
Latin,
gonna do.
The Latin
Yeah.
is vagina dentata, and that's what you need to know.
I
Mhm.
think that's I think that's an Austin Powers character.
It is. That's so fucking callback right there. Jesus Christ. Threw me for a fucking
You know
loop.
what? It's just. I hate
I'm
that
gonna
movie.
point
It's
out
such
that
a burning
Teeth
passion.
has 80% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No,
I-
80%.
I just.
It was
That's
the
not the
times, though.
audience score.
Okay. I was like, no way.
There's not many things in this life that I would say I hate, but that one is number one on the list.
It's just
Oh, Jesus.
Teeth, I hate that movie with the burning passion. Everything about it just
yeah,
it disgusts my body to
I
the
couldn't
core.
imagine going into a boardroom and trying to pitch that.
No, I wish I had time travel so I could meet the man who came up with the idea. And
Punch
I'm
him
sure
in the
he's
dick.
still around.
No,
I've
I'm
been
saying
doing this
right
for 2
no,
minutes and I still don't know what it's about. This is ridiculous.
Okay, I'll explain it very loosely.
I'm not sure you need to do that.
Nice choice of words.
Teeth. Down under. That's it.
Come from the teeth down under.
Oh,
Exactly. Oh, dude,
Oh,
fucking cover
what?
that.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a great man. There's one great scene in that movie that I think is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I'm
in my
reading the
entire
plot right
life.
now, and man, this is there's a lot of verbs.
I'd be really interested to hear like what the professional version of the plot sound would be like. Like, so this is.
I'll
Like,
put the
what-
Wikipedia in the Zoom chat, but that's as far as I'm going to go.
It's a woman who discovers abnormality in her body and uses it to become a vigilante.
It seems that way.
Like Batman. It's pretty much the plot of Batman.
She's the dumbest fucking superhero I've ever met. Like it's incredibly.
And you work with what you're given, you know.
Yeah, dude, you gotta solve a problem with the
I mean,
what
I don't
with
get
what you're
X-ray
given.
See,
vision
this
or
is the one that sounds like the youth group movie to me. The more you're describing it,
Yeah, for sure.
It is actually very much so. Is very youth groupy.
It is.
It's a weird thing that kind of subtlety.
oh
in-
god, there's
in
a character named
models.
Toby.
Fucking Toby.
You can imagine what his role is in this movie. Anyway. Gonna totally not offend any Toby fans or Toby Maguires
Man,
or
I really
No,
didn't
that's a
know this
good note to
existed
end
before
on.
this.
Yeah, teeth. Let's
Teeth.
just end
Let's
this
end
whole
on
episode
teeth.
with teeth.
Can we just roll the trailer for Teeth and then call it a good? Yeah.
God.
Lean back and that's it.
Shane, I want you to promise me you will not put the trailer for Teeth.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Maybe I'll just do it while and just put it in your box.
Just insert it
Shane,
randomly in the
Don't
You
put
will
podcast.
anything
never
in
have-
anyone's box.
No,
That's
no,
not what
stay
we're
away
doing
from
here.
boxes.
I promise you, I will never go on another podcast again. Oh god! A movie about biters in your cooter. Who? Who? Why?
Hey
Is
man.
this somehow a prequel to Saw? Like I feel like this exists.
Well,
in the
first of
same
all,
universe.
what's surprising to
felt
me,
like- I felt like I almost saw
Sequel
torture
to
watching
Saw
that
is
movie.
Seen.
what's
And then
surprising,
that's it.
what's more surprising to me is that, you know, like throughout all of history, we see phallic symbols all the frickin' time because men, you know, love their penis, whatever. So I'm surprised that there wasn't a movie that was made with a giant attacking penis.
Why are you even bringing up genitalia there, Shane? We ain't talking about any of that. It's fucking disgusting. Anyway, so go
literally
watch
were.
the movie Teeth.
Yeah,
came out in
stop
2008.
playing Cyberpunk, dude. Jeez.
Yeah, right? A little
I
too
would-
much time on character.
There's only so
creation,
many
you know what I
options
mean?
for your penis, man. Just not
Mitchell,
rocket science. Just big, small, little, uncircumcised, irregular.
thank you to Mitchell Lichtenstein
And we'd
for
like to
making
say-
Teeth.
Oh shoot! I thought it said
Mitchell,
Michelle.
does it have his address written down?
That's different.
I'll send you his social security
Alright.
after this. It's up on his.
I need to have a
IMDb.
conversation with Mr. Mitchell.
The movie
Yeah.
we never needed or wanted, but got anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mitchell.
It's
You're a true mensch.
All right.
All right.
like when
So,
you ask your-
Like, favorite, and subscribe the video. This has been another WiseDrums podcast. Thank you so much for listening, guys.
Farewell to our sponsors.
Go ahead and check out everybody's social in the
Good
description.
luck, good luck
Probably up
editing
on
this one,
screen.
brother.
If you have any
And,
ideas for a video game we should voice over, leave it in the comments below.
Oh
Yep.
shit! Look at that
That's
assist.
that is the move.
I
Yep.
still vote zero, Wing.
And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Shane, Justin, Quentin, and Dane for joining us. All of us
I love
collectively.
that we're shutting Shane's podcast down for
Yeah,
him.
That's
you
fine.
got that down. It's perfect.
I mean, it's
amazing.
perfect. It's like you've done this before. It's great.
I just want a cut of this at the end of it. Is the only
I-
reason I'm chipping in.
I do.
Sound like
Hey,
mine.
boys.
I do want to thank you guys seriously, like, for doing this. Like, this is like the highlight of my month. Whenever we all get together and just nerd out and like
Same,
have fun,
dude.
it's great. It's so fun.
Just
And
never disappoint. Yeah.
so yeah, so you can see everybody's handles. They're located. There will be located after I edit the video. for a lot longer than I needed to be, a lot longer than it needed to be at first.
Just giving the gestures whenever you do it.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, dude,
The more you know.
thank you guys so much for doing this. And check out Sleep Easy's new video. Check out Justin's game, Pyro Panic. Check out Quentin Malone's new apartment. His address is...
Check it out.
Come over. There's
check
going to
it
be a
out in
barbecue February 27th.
It's not even an apartment.
BYOB.
It's one wall.
Oh my, that's right. He fucking was lying about the 4. He's only got the 1. Fucking asshole.
Yeah.
He's in a park right now.
And shout outs to Dane's PS5 as well.
Yeah.
Dane Teeth Kinzer.
He changed his name.
Oh God.
All right, guys. Fuck this.
Yeah. On that note, you guys take care. Bye.
All right. See you guys.